always done well in real estate. Our culture respects people that have money, but I lost $4 million, like literally of my own money. And dude, it was rough. I was losing 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a day. It was my mistake. That was depressing, dude. That really, really humbled me.
Welcome, everybody. Another episode of High Stakes with Steve Rozenberg. Today is going to be a good one. I've got a friend of mine. I've known him, probably about over 10 years now, man. We've known each other for a while. Matt Teifke is on. Matt is a friend of mine, been around a long time. We've gone back and forth. We always exchange text messages. I think you kind of... As you go into any industry, you kind of get people that you always kind of circle back to, check up on how you doing, what's going on. Maybe you don't talk for a year or two, circle back if I need a favor or if he needs a favor or an introduction. We always just kind of weave intertwine each other's lives. I've noticed. And Matt is one of those guys, very, very highly respected in the real estate world. And, I would say a giver, in my opinion, just a guy that gives all the time. So Matt, good to see you, brother. How you been, man?
I'm great, man. I always love being around you. You got a great aura and energy. And as you were mentioning how things weave in and out, I thought of an analogy like a couple months ago. I'll just jump right in if that's cool.
Yeah,
but
man.
It's kind of like, for me, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. And so one of the things for me is, what we do, making money and material things, none of it really matters, right? But I thought about being on a track. Like we're all kind of running on this track and it's this marathon. And sometimes we run past somebody and my goal is to bring that person up a little further, bring them up with me and maybe they'll run with me for a little bit. And then I'm going to keep running on the track, but it never means that I'm in front of them or behind them, but you got to keep going. Sure. And so as you said that weaving thing, I thought of that. And it's like, you meet people, you come across people. Sometimes they want to do a little sprint with you, sometimes not, but there's no finish line. That's why I like the track as well. Is like, we don't have to end up somewhere, but we got to keep going and we got to bring those with us. And I need people to bring me with them too when they're passing me. So I just thought that was interesting how you said that.
Yeah. It's funny. I tell people this a lot. I think entrepreneurs, or I think people in general, I equate it to a shark, right? When you think of a shark never reaches a destination like an entrepreneur. We don't reach a destination and stop. Sharks keep swimming, and entrepreneurs, we keep swimming also. You've had a lot of successes and challenges, the same as myself, and it doesn't stop us. We never say like, okay, I think I'm going to stop here and rest. It's like, right. No, you just, that is what we do. I think that's what humans do. I think that if you stop, you're going backwards, right? There's no such thing. You're either going forward or backwards. You never stay the same.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, Matt, for those of you who don't know you or know who you are, and, when people introduce you and, you've been doing stuff with Cardone and other people, and, you're on a lot of big social media platforms, and, they may see all your successes, right? They see your resume. But if I asked who is Matt without the resume, what would someone say?
Yeah. I mean, the core is I got a family. I got 2 little boys. Married, 2 boys. I hope people would say that I'm somebody who brings them hope, because I want to bring other people hope, and I believe in that with faith in Christ and God. But I like to have fun with, I just got out of the pool. I was working on the tractor. My kids will get home later. I'll be throwing them around. There's another kid that lives at this park, and like you said, you keep going business wise, but also on a human level. I'm a simple guy. I like people a lot. I'm living at an RV park that I bought, and Grant actually called me a redneck. And
Grant did. Wow.
Yeah, Grant and I'm like, I've never been called a redneck. More maybe like a hippie. I think rednecks are cool. I respect them.
Not a bad word. Yeah.
They have a lot of skills that I wish I had.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting out here at this RV park and I couldn't find a spatula. So I'm like flipping the burgers with like a stick or something. I'm like, maybe I am a redneck.
That could be the sign, right? Now, let me
Yeah.
ask you this. And again, the social media world, as we know, is that the very, very small lens. Um, but what is a part of your journey that in your life no one knows about, no one claps for, but was a pivotal point in your life, and it changed a lot of things in a lot of directions that you don't really talk about and no one knows about?
Well, I've talked about it a little bit, but one of my biggest challenges and setbacks was for a long time, I did very well. I've always done well in real estate, but I lost $4 million, like literally of my own money, on one company. And dude, it was rough. I mean, I was losing 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a day for it felt like a 4 year period until it went to zero. And it was a publicly traded stock. And I believed in the company. I knew everything about the company. I knew the CEO, I knew the board members, and it was my mistake. I think there probably was some kind of fraud or wrongdoing by the company, but that was a struggle, man. I'm leading the company, I'm building. People see me with Cardone. Meanwhile, I'm losing all this money, and so that really, really humbled me. But it also put a lot of things in perspective. I mean, I thought, I needed to make money to be somebody that was important. And I don't know if that's from my family. It's partly from my family, but is it from our culture? Partly from that. Like our culture respects people that have money. And so I thought that's what I needed to do. And after losing all that money, I realized one, it's not. Two, I'm not really tied to it, which I wasn't really, but like that was depressing, dude.
Yeah.
And and I remember like multiple times just being like so broken down. And you
Yeah.
can't really talk to people about that. I mean, very few people have like that. It's not like I had $10 million. I had four that I made. I had a bunch of assets, and the four literally goes to zero.
Yikes. Yeah. So let me ask you, like when that happened, there's a lot of self-checking that goes on, right? It's easy to blame, right? It's very easy to MF people and they did me wrong. And that's always an easy excuse, we'll say. It doesn't change the situation as we know. Was there things that you would tell yourself? Because listen, at the end, right now that you've digested the meal or some of it, you can go back and do the post-mortem and you can dissect what went wrong, what didn't go wrong. But those emotional triggers that were probably firing daily, right? I'm sure it was penthouse to the cellar to maybe a glimmer of hope to nothing to
Yes, you just
how
described
did
it.
I know. So how did you manage that? And Lexi, your wife, how did she deal with you? Because listen, it's got to be hard to go through this alone, but your wife's your partner, you're dealing with this. There's that side of it that I've got to imagine is not easy, right? Because it's not just you. You're not living in a studio apartment dealing with it on your own. You got your family. Your kids don't know. They don't understand this. They spell love Time, right? They want time with you. You're
Yeah.
sitting there, your brain is you're probably disconnected. So I'm asking a lot of questions because I'm curious. How did you
No,
go
yeah.
through this?
Man, a lot. Yeah, it's all that's true. My wife has always been a trooper, which
Yeah.
is a huge blessing. I feel like a lot of wives probably would have left,
Yeah.
but she's always stuck with me, and we've always known like, hey, we have each other, and we have our health, and we have God, so we always fall back on that. But we stuck together as a team, dude. So many challenges. I mean, we moved to an RV park where right now we live at an RV park. We're living in this apartment upstairs, and most people wouldn't do that, but we're living for free. Which in my financial analysis, that's about 50 grand a year. Lexi's
Yeah.
getting paid a salary 50 grand a year, and we're in a really cool part of Texas, Chapel Hill. We got a swimming pool, we got two ponds, and we have the ability. So that's kind of a side note, but like we just keep moving forward, right? Just like you said, like the shark. Maybe the shark gets beat up in a fight or gets a chunk bitten out of him, but he keeps on swimming. And so there really were no other options other than quit. And then also, man, all those things you said, the challenges, marriage challenges, kids don't understand it, but also like having certain people that I realized, and I don't want to put any of this off on all other people. I'm happy to dive into what I did wrong or my mistakes with it. But I did see that there were certain people that valued me because of money. And when they thought like, oh, if I need help or I need a partner, Matthew will do it. And I always pretty much would. Like if me and you were in a partnership genuinely and our business needed 50 grand and you didn't have it, I'd put it up.
Sure.
And that's those are beautiful partnerships. But then when you don't have it and you can't put it up, and then the partner, now thinks you're a bad person or this or that, you realize, oh, they just really only cared about me for money. So that was another dynamic that was taking place. But we just had to move through it, man. Like got closer to God through the whole process. But the highs and lows that you described were so real. I remember breaking down and then one day having some hope and then breaking down again. And it was the craziest thing, Steve. Whenever it went to zero was actually a really good thing.
Was it like a relief where you're like, finally, yes, it's done?
Yes. Yeah. Like, okay, good. It's done. Now I don't have to think about it or worry about it. I'd rather it just be done. I just want this to be done.
Yeah. Yeah. Were there moments, and I'm sure there were, where you wanted to just quit, shut it down, walk away, just kind of like wrap all this up, bundle it up, throw it in the trash, move on? And what caused you to not do that?
My family, man. I've never been a quitter. I've never really, but yes, those thoughts were there. I mean, dark thoughts, dude.
I get it. Let me ask you, and listen, I'm sure, everyone always says there's a lesson. It doesn't feel like a lesson when you're going through it. I mean, obviously I know what you're going through because I've gone through something similar. Right. So that's why I'm asking these questions. What did you have to let go of as a person to move on?
I never really thought about that. Maybe pride. Maybe I wanted to be right. And because I invested in this company and I knew it was going to be right and I studied it. And then just knowing that, like, I'm not going to always know the right answers. I can't force everything into existence. I can't solve every problem. I got to trust God on a lot of things and not take every single thing into my own hands. So just letting go of like, I have to be this. This has to work. I don't feel like that with anything I do moving forward. I want things to work. I want to do my best, but I don't need an investment to be right for me to be right, or my self-worth is tied to that.
Yeah. It doesn't define you, right? Would you say?
Yeah.
Now, if you didn't choose this path, right? You and Lexi, obviously you guys chose a path and you're going this direction now. If you stayed the old path, where do you think you'd be today?
Yeah, great question. I would definitely be more wrapped up in my worth being tied to money and my net worth. Right. And I've got a lot of great things going on. It's not like I've just given up. Like I'm still pushing forward on everything. But yeah, the value and me representing myself as somebody with money as a factor of value that I bring to me and you, whether I have money or not, that shouldn't be what I represent to you. I'm not the savior that brings capital to you or to other people. I will if I can. But I want to represent like you're kind of getting deeper, like who I am as a person. Like, are we friends? Do we care about each other? If we have no money, do we still want to do things together? I want to be more tied to that.
Yeah, that's interesting. It makes me ask the question, like, did you have different beliefs? Maybe, and again, maybe not even realizing it, that maybe you had different beliefs before that you realized that maybe those weren't serving you. I'm asking, like, what do you sit back and go, not that it was a blessing, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, but in some way, was it?
I believe it was, and like you're saying, you've had your ups and downs, and when and we're ambitious, we want to do big things, right? When I look and study and talk to anybody that's like that, what I've realized is it seems that it's a requirement to go through this. I
That's a
actually,
good point, man.
I really believe that. I don't know anybody who's done anything big that doesn't fully understand this. And it's like, this is part of the journey. You have to be humbled. None of it's just going to go perfect. You have to go through this. And so when you say the lesson was a blessing, I'm like, good. I went through it. I learned. Maybe I'll go through it again, hopefully in a different way. But if I can take these lessons and be better for it, if I can share my story and help somebody with it, that's great. But every successful person I've talked to that's done something big has something very similar.
So the inner voice that is inside of you now, does it tell you something different when you're looking at deals, when you're shaking someone's hand, when they're having this, how it is, the dance of doing a deal? Are you more reserved? Are you trying to collect more data? Are you a bit more guarded? Like has Matt changed as a result? Because this is interesting for people that have gone through this, I think.
Yeah. In some ways, yes. These are great questions. I probably should reflect more on them. But one thing that I know is I've seen a lot of people that as they get older, they give up on people. And I could do that. Like I've had those thoughts. And I guess what I mean by that is, like, for me, if I were to give up on people, I would just be much more guarded, much more about myself, much less worried about how they feel when they come across me. Because when I talk to people, I do want to give them hope and I do want to inspire them, whether I do a deal or not. And I tend to sometimes believe in people more than they believe in themselves at my own detriment. And I choose not to give up on that and give up on people and to be cynical and say people are bad and nobody does this and you can't trust anybody. In that sense, I have not changed. Like, I'm not giving up on people. I don't ever want to. I want to believe in people.
Yeah. Listen, I think, real estate as an example, I always say, real estate is four walls and a roof. It's the business, which is built on relationships. And I think that sometimes people try to, they try to sterilize the fact that it's all built on relationships. If not, we're just a commodity. You'd buy real estate on Amazon,
Right.
but you don't do that. Like, I could go to Amazon and do partnerships with people based on qualifications, but there's a relationship that has to happen. There's human capital, there's trust. And that is built by, I still believe, because we are emotional humans.
Yes.
We run on emotions, right? And so, we have different versions of ourselves, right? I mean, the version of you in high school, probably different than the version of, like myself. I've gone through some sad things and some tragedies, and that is sculpted and changed how I look at things. Some good, some not so good, and I think that that's what life is about, right? It changes us. And I think that what we do every day has a different definition, a different meaning. Like for you, I think every day we get up and fight for something. We're either fighting to get better or we are fighting to get worse. We are fighting every day. What is something that you fight for every day?
Yeah. Great insight. I fight. I mean, I need to be more healthy like you. But I've gone on my wife put me on a vegan diet for 10 days and I'm feeling amazing, man. And I'll get back to protein, but like, that's one thing is, like, I know that I need to be healthy. I know that I need to feel good, but I care about being somebody that people can count on. Even like I would hope that you would think of me and think that you can count on me. And I really, like, that means a lot to me. Like, if you called me, Steve, and you needed something, I would do everything I could to genuinely try to give that to you. But I do that for, like, people I just met. And maybe that's a flaw, maybe not. But I fight for people to, like, know that, like, I'm somebody that hopefully they can count on. you learn, you grow, you get better. Right, to your point of we all change is I say this thing like everybody's had a bad partnership, but apparently nobody's been a bad partner, right? Like where are all these bad partners? We've all
That's a
had them.
good point.
Where are they, man?
Yeah,
So it's like,
that's a good point, man. I never thought about it that way. Yeah, that's true. I mean, when you think about this, right? And again, I think things change, and I think we all change in life, right? And listen, I everybody has a different perspective. The way I equate it to people is when I meet someone, everybody has an A, and they fail their way, and sometimes they'll take advantage of me as a result, and that's okay. I'm okay with that because I don't want to be skewed. And I'm not saying it's bad, but there's other people I know that everyone starts with a fail. Everyone starts as an F and they have to earn their A.
yeah,
I don't know that one is right and one is wrong. Normally they have to do that because why? Because they've gotten ripped off or scorned and they're
yeah,
calloused. And I can't say that that's the wrong way, right? I mean, they maybe they've gotten ripped off for, 40 million. I don't know. And that was their definition of that's, they've said enough is enough. And that was their enough.
right.
I think you and I are very similar that if somebody says, hey, I'm so-and-so, I give them benefit of the doubt. And I think that that's a beautiful thing that we can do. And that's how I am. I think that, if people think of me, they'll say, he's authentic, he's consistent, and he's a sincere guy. He cares about people.
Yeah.
What do you think people would say about you?
I really would hope that people understand that, like, I genuinely want to talk to like your soul and know your soul and be real. Like I just want to be 100% like, hey, what matters? How are you? Where are you? Like, what do you need? And people would say, Matt's somebody that is real, consistent for sure. But I've been doing real estate for 16 years. So, you come across a lot of people that are fly by nights and they
Yeah.
come in hot and then they're gone. Like I've come in hot and I'm still here.
Yeah.
Like I keep showing up. And so I would hope that people would say like, I know who Matt is. I mean, I post things on Facebook, and people slam me, and then I'm like, hey, thanks for sharing. Like, can we grab coffee or lunch? And like, I'm not trying to be right. I don't need to prove them wrong. I just want them to like know that they're heard. And maybe a flaw, I don't know, but it's like you said the A, but like I just keep them at an A. Even if they like totally let me down, it's like, hey, you let me down, dude, but like let's get you back here. Like I don't cut anybody out.
So let me ask you, if you did business with someone and they completely wronged you, they lied, they ripped you off, would they still have the A?
It depends. Not if they just like stick with that stance and they go down that path. But if they are like acknowledging they made a mistake or they want to have a friendship and they're essentially looking for forgiveness, they get back to A immediately. Truly.
Interesting. See, I'm the kind of guy, I think that when I feel that I've been wronged, and I say feel because it's an emotion, right? It's just perspective. And I feel that I was disrespected based on the agreement that we have. For me, I kind of flip a switch that I just flip. I can literally shut off my emotions to that person because I don't want them to contaminate the rest of the pool.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's toxic. It's kind of like if somebody dropped poison into a juice container, no matter how thirsty you were, you're never going to drink that juice because it's poisonous.
Yeah.
And so I think about that with the other people around me, that I don't want that person to skew how I think about everyone else. And that, again, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's kind of what I do.
So what if let's say I was your partner, not me. I'll take it too personal. Let's say somebody else was your partner and they totally, let's say they stole 50 grand out of the company account. And then they came in and they said, Steve, like, dude, I messed up, man. Like, this is what happened. This is why. Would you allow them to be back to an A? And I'm not judging.
Yeah, 100%. It'd be the guy. Yes. In that situation, I would. the situation where they said, I took it because, or if they said, I didn't take it and I have proof, or if they said, I took it because I deserve it. Because Steve, you already make enough money. You don't need it. So yeah, I took it. Then I would have a problem with that because they're justifying something that is not justifiable. But if they're like, hey, you know what, man, I was in a bad situation. I did something wrong. I want to make this right. 100%. I'd be like, you know what? We all have that. Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yes.
So I feel the same way, but I don't judge anyone. I just feel like a lot of people wouldn't bring them back to A or, accept that.
I would probably trust but verify at that point.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
let's put some markers here that you're going to do that.
I agree with that.
Let me ask you this. So you have a version of success post $4 million lesson, we'll say. What is that version of success today versus what it was 5 years ago? Like, what is success?
Yeah, I feel like I'm here in a lot of ways. Little things personally, like I'm checking my email once a week.
Wow.
Like I used to check it like every 5 minutes. And I'm not still hard charging. We're under contract on 1,400 doors, 4 complexes, like 120 million right now. So I'm still going all in, but I'm creating a lifestyle where I'm doing what I feel like I need to do to bring the most value, and I'm not tied and forced to do what I used to think I needed to do, which is stay on top of everything immediately every second. But I do, like, if people call me, I call them back. I call every single person back. I talk to every person. Maybe I shouldn't. I'm not sure. That's the part where I struggle with of like, I talk to so many people, and I'd love to get your take. And they're just kind of, it's not like if they wanted to talk about, something that I felt we're being fruitful and we're actually like growing, but sometimes they're just talking about, help me underwrite this deal. And they've looked at one, every 6 months, and they're barely grinding on it, but I'm still on the call with them. And I'm like, I probably shouldn't be on this call, but I'm like wanting to get to the human. And so maybe I just need to jump to that quicker versus letting them just sit here and ask me these random questions.
I can only tell you what I've learned from people that are much more successful than me, people at the level of Grant and other thing. And what they've taught me is that the most important lesson, the most important word is no. And the reason they say the most important word we can use is no is because if we are saying yes to everything, we are saying no to something else.
Yes.
And those are probably the silent, most important things, which could be your kids, which could be your family. And it's not that you're saying no to them. You're saying, I'm not giving you my most valuable asset, which is my time. So you can go do this and I will check with you. And let me rephrase this. I had a gentleman that I was invested quite a bit of money to spend a day learning from him. And he was a mentor of mine. And I thought that we were going to get like 12 hours because it was a very large amount of money that I spent to learn from him. And he taught me a very valuable lesson. And the lesson is I thought, okay, I can be there at 6 a.m. and we will go to midnight. It was that close to 6 figures for a day with this guy.
Yeah.
And he says, oh, why don't you come at like 9:30? I'm like, 9:30? Like, I'm like, that's kind of late. Like I'm like right down the street.
Yeah.
Here. He says, no, come at 9:30. And I said, well, are we going to learn everything that you promised? And he's like, Steve, I promise you, we'll learn it. You'll learn everything you need to learn. And I said, what time will we go till? Because I'm thinking we're going to midnight. And he goes, Steve, we'll go till we're done. I said, okay. I said, you're sure? He said, have I ever lied to you? And I've known him for a while. And I said, no. And he said, good. I'll see you at 9:30. And he hangs up the phone. I'm like, so I show up at 9:30. Sure enough, we spend the day together. We hang out. And again, I've known him. And he said to me, he said, Steve, do you know why I told you 9:30? I said, I have no idea. He said, because you were probably trying to figure out how much per hour you were getting out of me based on how many hours you were going to have with me. And I said, yeah, I kind of was. And he said, that's an employee mentality. He said, that's not how successful people think. He said, if I could teach you in 5 minutes how to make an extra $1 million, do we need to spend 12 hours? He goes, I protect my most valuable asset, and you should too. He said, and more importantly, if that's how you're thinking, that's how you're coaching your clients. And that is dangerous because you're teaching them to trade time for money, which is an employee. He said, why do you think we fly around in private jets? Because we're saving what? Time.
Right.
He said, you have to learn to protect your time, because if you don't, do you really think other people will? And so that, I will never forget that lesson, man. That was, and he taught me what I needed, and everything worked out like he said, but I always remember that lesson, man. So I don't know if that helps you, but that was a lesson for me that was very valuable.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it will. That's great, man. And I like how you said it translates to people that you're leading, and kind of, I don't know exactly how you change things there, but if you believed it deeper, you're gonna portray that to them in a deeper way as well.
Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you, like, is there something that you wish the Matt today, who you are today, everything you've gone through, all the arrows in your back, all the scars, everything that you've gone through, is there a truth that maybe you wish someone had told you when you first started? And would you have listened?
I don't know if I would have listened.
See, that's the caveat, right? It's like, oh, everyone, because maybe someone told that to you and you just weren't ready to hear the message. I don't know.
The biggest thing was my value tied to a dollar amount of me as a person. Okay. I'm a very hard worker. I'm very committed. Like, whatever I'm focused on, like I'll just die before I don't, like if you and me, we're going to see who's going to run on the treadmill the longest. Like you'll probably beat me, but I'll just face plant on the thing and just die right there. So like, but I was focused on making money and having to build a brand and a company and a name in business. And that's what my uncle did, who was extremely successful. That's what people in our culture do. That, like, unfortunately, at least me growing up, like, all the respect went to the people with the most money. So I thought that I had to be that. And
interesting.
And I wish I didn't think that way, because I tried to do everything so fast. I mean, when you invest $4 million in one company, you're trying to make 50 million, right?
You're swinging for the fences.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could have invested 4 million into, something that paid 400,000 a year forever, and I could just be good.
Yeah. Would you do that deal? Like, would you do that deal or a deal like that again if something came? Or would you, like, what would you do differently? Would you do anything differently if the same deal came rolling down to you? What would Matt today do or say?
Yeah, well, the one big thing was it wasn't aligned with it wasn't even in the real estate business. I've never lost money in real estate. And so I should have just bet on myself. And so if something big came and I was involved with it, I would do it again. I would swing for the fences, but I wouldn't do it if it didn't have anything related to me or my ability to help it be successful.
So would you want some control in the matter next time around?
Yeah, absolutely. And
or at least some knowledge or control. I guess there's a difference, right?
Yeah, but either, but like fully aware, like it's, we could dive into this other company. It's not fruitful, but like, right. I knew everything about it, but I still didn't know everything about it. Right. I knew everything that was possible for me to know as it being a publicly traded company, but I didn't know, the owner personally, or how he really feels about life. Right. Sure. Or how he really handles things when he's in a tough environment. So knowledge, control, but like being much closer to the transaction and the deal, and knowing if this goes wrong, I can personally do this to help it or that to help it. Whereas this other thing, I had no ability to do that. I was but
the caveat to that is I like you, I've been in real estate a long time, and there's some deals now. I'm more of a passive investor now on some deals, but I've got some deals that are not looking so hot, that may be going sideways, that even these very successful people that I know, like, and trust. So I don't know, I don't know that I would hang my hat on, if it was just in real estate, I would be okay, because when I got into the deals, they made sense. Outside circumstances, we don't need to go into that, but there's things that have changed that have caused that deal not to be so great. So I don't know that I would say that's the only way. You know what I mean?
Well, I hear you, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but I will say that this is all that I do, and I'm not
True.
saying I know more than you by any means,
Yeah,
but
no, it's true.
there's there. I could have bought, anyone who bought deals in 2020, 2021, big deals in Central Texas or probably Texas is in a bad spot.
Right.
I could have bought those deals, but I
Yeah.
didn't. Like, I was aware, hey, 3 caps and 4 caps, and anticipating 3%, 4% rent bump every month is not really wise. So I was aware of that. And back to what I said earlier about nobody's had bad partners. The people that invested, right? The LPs, which I'm sure you take responsibility. The LPs were just as much of a problem as the GPs. The LPs were making it easy for them to get the capital. It was so easy to raise capital.
Yeah.
I just couldn't figure out, how are these guys making money? Like, I couldn't be the top bidder on any of these deals.
Right. Yeah.
And now
No,
full cycle, it makes sense.
no, I'm with you. I'm with you. So let me ask you, as when pressure hits you now, what does the Matt of today say and do in pressure situations, as opposed to the Matt that was $4 million richer? We'll say.
Yeah. Well, I try to tap into lessons that I've learned, from a business meeting gone bad to the wrong. Everything I do in a meeting, I try to figure out, how could this have gone better? I was in a meeting last week, Steve, and I probably had 6 of these in my life where they get intense, right? And I don't want to get intense with anybody, but like, my nature, I'm a fighter, right? And so this guy said something like, well, me and you are going to go down by the creek bed. And I said, immediately, I'm like, good. Like, I'd like to do that. But emotions were running high.
Sure.
So then that meeting literally taught me, like, man, I gotta like, not act that way, or not try to combat or be right in meetings. So everything I do, I try to be a little bit better, more humble, less. I'm not battling with people. It's like darkness that you're battling with. And so
your own
I just,
darkness.
yeah. And so I just try to be much more humble and, like, more real, more open, more like, not forcing, when things get intense, there's probably a deeper issue, as you're probably aware of, that you want this to happen so bad because of these other things.
Sure.
And it's not right.
Yeah. I get that. I get that. So as we kind of wrap this up, what's next for Matt 2.0? Where are you going?
Man, I'm living by faith. Like, I'm living at this park, man. I'm not going to be here in a year. I don't know where I'm going to be. I believe I will be in Texas, but this year was really big for me in the sense of networking and events. I'm going on 2 more cruises and another event this year. So I've been to like 15 or 20, and I was not protecting my time in a sense. So I think that's what's next, is figuring out how to value my time in a deeper way.
Got it.
To be more fruitful. And I want to get into some level of politics eventually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, I mean, I have my kids are 6 and 5, so like every day, like anything I do is cool. Hey guys, watch this, So like, I'm just tapped into that right now.
That's awesome.
But value my time. So like what you said, will be helpful. And I want to keep buying real estate, keep building the brand. I'm constantly, meeting more people and building the reputation the best I can, and trying to share lessons and be real and just very real. Like I'd rather, like if I go on and I'm a panel and somebody asks me questions, like I'd rather just answer it in such a real way and not just say what everybody thinks I should say or what I want to say. And that's different. That's breaking the mold in a sense. And so I just want to do my best at doing that in the most real way possible.
It's like I tell people I can be nice or I can be honest. I probably can't be both. So
right.
I'm going to be honest. And sometimes that's telling people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And I do that because I care. It's not, sometimes being nice is the worst thing you can do because you're really not giving them what they need to hear. And sometimes, I don't think this has to be about what's nice and make you feel good. I think sometimes, before someone goes off the cliff, I think you want someone saying, hey, what are you doing? No, don't do this. And, right. And sometimes that's the not the people that, like for me, when I coach people, because I have no skin in the game, I can give them an honest perspective of their business because I'm 3 feet away from their business. I've got no reason except to your benefit. And I think that there needs to be more people like that. I believe more honesty, more upfront direction. I think that's something that we all need more of,
I agree with that completely, man. One thing I'll say that kind of unrelated, but in closing, that somebody brought up to me, he was like, man, if you were to wake up tomorrow and all you had is what you thanked God for, like, what would that be? And that meant so much to me. Like just being grateful and like, just think about that. Like if you had tomorrow, what you thank God for today, what would you have? And I just liked that message. I don't know if that resonates with you, but it just puts you in a grateful kind of perspective.
Definitely. I like that. Well, Matt, brother, as always, it's great to see you. And I always get inspired talking to you. And I think we feed off of each other. I know you're doing some amazing things. Like I said, I know you're doing some stuff with Grant Cardone and other stuff. If people want to follow you or have conversations with you, how do they find you?
I'm easy, man. I'm all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I teach a class every Thursday at 1:00. It's free. Everybody's welcome. And I'm easy to get a hold of. MattTeifke@gmail is my email. And man, I'm going on a cruise with Grant in a couple months. So that should be fun.
That'll be cool. I'm sure that'll be one for the books.
Yeah. So, and I'm bringing my wife, I'm going on a cruise Saturday. I'm bringing my family. So like, I'm trying to bring them with me on these things.
Good for you.
But yeah, man, I've always appreciated you a lot and respect you a lot and appreciate your time. But however I can plug in or get connected, I'm here.
Awesome. Well, Matt, thanks for being here. For those of you watching, we'll have Matt's information in the notes. If you want to get a hold of him, again, he's my go-to guy in Central Texas or most of Texas, actually. Whenever I need something, he's the guy I always introduce him to. It would help you guys if you want to meet someone just as a good guy in general. He would be the guy that I would first and foremost recommend. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Matt and myself, thanks for watching another episode of High Stakes with Steve Rozenberg, and we will catch you guys next week.